Days after a deadly attack on an African Union base in southern Somalia, Kenyan forces and AMISOM have pulled out of several of its military bases. Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaeda-affiliated militant group, has already retaken control of these towns, a major blow to the recent security gains made by the multinational peacekeeping force operating in the country.
This is not how peacekeeping forces should react. It's very wrong for Kenya and AMISOM to vacate these towns. They are in Somalia for one reason, to fight the enemy Al-Shabaab and protect the Somali civilians. The recent withdrawal is not justifiable. These towns are now under the enemy's control.
Al-Shabaab claims to have killed more than 100 Kenyan soldiers at the Al-Ade military post in Gedo region of southern Somalia. AMISOM and Kenyan military are yet to issue an official statement on the death toll, in what Kenya termed as a betrayal by a particular clan in southern Somalia, sentiments heavily criticized by Somali authorities here in Mogadishu.
Kenya is a sovereign nation, a member of IGAD, the African Union, and a troop-contributing country for AMISOM. It's very unfortunate for Kenyan authorities to come forward and blame a particular clan for its loss. The enemy here is Al-Shabaab and is the main reason AMISOM is in Somalia, to fight.
Kenya contributes about 4,000 troops to the 22,000-strong African Union force battling the militants in Somalia. Its withdrawal from Al-Ade and Badade have been viewed as a major setback to the latest AMISOM successes against the group. AMISOM stands to lose public support in the areas they've recently vacated. Now the militant group Al-Shabaab has already retaken control of these towns and arrested all those that supported AMISOM and Kenyan troops. Now the major task for AMISOM is how to regain public support in liberating these towns again from the militant group Al-Shabaab. Abdulaziz, Billow, CCTV, Mogadishu, Somalia.
And Abdulaziz Billow now joins us live from Mogadishu for further discussion on this. So Abdulaziz, earlier today, Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta said that the position that Kenyan troops hold there in Somalia, they will remain there until that job is done. And of course, we've just heard from your report about concerns there in Somalia, about recent movements by the Kenyan soldiers in the southern part of the country. What more can you tell us?
Well, Penina, just as you've mentioned, we said in the report that the things have changed here on the ground. And now two of the regions that were under the control of the Kenyan military are part of AMISOM. Now this is in Al-Ade and Badade. This is in southern Somalia. They are now under the control of the militant group Al-Shabaab. Now a major setback for the African Union mission here in Somalia. But the Kenyan president today, in a meeting with the Nigerian president Muhammad Buhari and President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, they all reiterated their commitment and their desire to fight and end terrorism. So basically that tells you President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya said that his forces will continue to remain here in Somalia and boost the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, in its fight against the Al-Shabaab. But so far the things have changed on the ground, and the Al-Shabaab has retaken control of these two towns here in southern Somalia. But the fact of the matter is that Kenya contributes almost 4,200 troops who are part of the peacekeeping force here in AMISOM, and their withdrawal here has been met with sharp criticism from Somali leaders who feel that yes, the Kenyan forces lured the public and gained public trust so that they can be able to capture these new territories. But the fact that they vacated these two towns and left the public there without notice tells you that the public will find it very hard to believe that the peacekeeping forces will not abandon them again, in the likelihood of even them gaining their support in the next time.
Now, Somalia's president, alongside other African heads of states, will be heading to the African Union Summit in Ethiopia. What will Somalia be seeking from the AU, especially considering the current status of the AU troops and the mission there in Somalia?
Well, Penina, Somalia has a lot of issues to present to the African Union. First and foremost is the latest setbacks against AMISOM. This has become a major cause of concern here for the federal government in Mogadishu and all across the country. One, Somalia will be asking the African Union to help the African Union mission here in Somalia, AMISOM, to to restart the military offensive that has stalled for a long while now. Somalia will want the African Union soldiers to continue to push back the militants and to be able to punch them extra hard so that they cannot be able to retaliate in a quick response like the way they've retaliated. Basically, AMISOM, the last 2 towns that they captured were in last year. This is in Bardere and Dinsor in the Bakol and the Gedo region. Those are the 2 major towns that AMISOM liberated in 2015. But basically, Somalia will want AMISOM to continue with that fight and that push until the Al-Shabaab is no longer in control of any other town in south or central Somalia. But the fact of the matter is that the Somali government will also want the African Union to help the Somali government lobby the UN Security Council to be able to ask the UN Security Council to assist the Somali military in terms of training and in terms of equipping so that the Somali army can be able to fight alongside the African Union troops. You find in the sense that African Union troops, once they hold a town and they have a perimeter there, they need the support of the Somali National Army to be able to safeguard their supply routes and the corridors. That's why you find that the attack that took place in Lego and Janale and the attack that took place in Al Ade could be avoided. So another thing that the Somali government will be presenting to the African Union is that Somalia wants to hold elections in 2016 and it will want to have a secure environment to be able to conduct these elections. So basically, Somalia will be telling the African Union to send in observers and to be able to boost the African Union mission in Somalia so that it can be able to safeguard all the state institutions here so that credible, peaceful elections can be able to be held in 2016.
All right, Abdulaziz Billow, live for us there in Mogadishu. Many thanks.